So if we look at the logical problem of evil, what they actually say is if an omnipotent, omnibenevolent, and omniscient God exists, then evil does not.
Just about a question of language there. Omnipotent, so we're talking about an all-powerful, it means
all
omnipotent.
Powerful, yeah.
And what was the other word you used?
Omnibenevolent, all good, all loving.
All good, all loving, yeah. And what was the third term? Sorry.
Omniscient, like all knowing. All knowing.
All knowing. There's all powerful, all knowing, all loving, or beneficent. So just to clarify the language there. Thank you.
Yeah. So they speak about three attributes of God. Right. That he has power over everything, and that he is good, and at the same time that he knows everything. Right. He said, if there is such God, then evil does not exist. You can't have the same you can't have both of at the same time. And then he said, there is evil in the world, therefore an omnipotent, omnibenevolent, and omniscient God does not exist. So this is the kind of logical formula for the logical problem of evil. And this is quite strange that you can say that, because the first point that he's making, that it's impossible to believe in all good and all powerful and omniscient God and believing in evil at the same time, it's a claim. He makes this claim. But if you believe that Allah or God is Al-Hakim, all-wise, that he has reasons, he has wisdoms for things that he creates, and something can seem to be bad at the first time, and then good things can come out of them, and so on, then the whole first sentence,
it just strikes when I hear you outline it like that, having some familiarity with what the Quran says, it does strike me as an odd argument without anticipating your point. But it's not something. It's obviously a problem from the Muslim point of view, anyway.
No. And William Rowe, when he wrote about this issue, he said to say that something is incoherent, it's you have to have two statements that go against one each other. So you say that Elizabeth is taller than 5 foot, and Elizabeth is not taller than 5 foot. You can't have the same at the same time. You either say that I have a computer in front of me, or I don't have a computer in front of me. You can't have this the both at the same time. But he says that you can also say two statements that might not appear to contradict one another, but you have to add a third sentence to make them incoherent. So he said, like an example, this thing is red and it's not colored at the same time. So you have to add a third sentence to say everything that is red is also colored, and then it becomes a incoherent sentence. So he says now, if you look at the statement that Mackie was talking about, then it's not contradictory. Because if you add this sentence, what he's trying to add here is to say that if God would exist, then he would prevent all of evil. But you can just refute that by saying that God can create things in the world and have different reasons for all different kind of wisdoms.
He seems to be begging the question, doesn't it? He seems to be, there's an assumption there that's not stated explicitly, which you're making explicit and saying, well, hang on, actually, there may be reasons why God permits or wills suffering to exist, and therefore there's not a incoherence or contradictoriness in there.
Yes, that's the whole thing. And the funny thing is that John Mackie himself, in his latest book that he wrote, The Miracle of Theism, he actually quoted and said that the problem of evil does not, after all, show that the central doctrines of theism are logically inconsistent with one another. So this is the last book that he wrote, and it was published 1 year after his death. And like I said, William Rowan is an atheist philosopher. He refuted that. So the logical problem of evil is refuted by the author himself and by other atheist philosophers. So we don't really need to refute that argument. And you can still see that some atheists today, they come and say, oh, we have the logical problem of evil, 1, 2, 3, Epicurus said, and so on. But it's not an issue anymore. It's dead in philosophy. The thing that they are speaking about today is the other kind of problem of evil, and that's called the evidential problem of evil.